So I finally picked up a 360 Hz monitor, but do they actually work? Do they make you play better at CSGO? Well, today we're going to be diving deep and we're going to be talking about it, so let's jump right into it. This is the Asus ROG Swift 360 Hz PG259QN monitor. So the main specs that really make it stand out are the fact that it's 1080p 360 Hz. It also has NVIDIA G-Sync. It has ultra low motion blur, a 1 millisecond gray to gray response time, and of course the panel is a fast IPS display, so the colors are accurate, and also the viewing angles are second to none. Plus it also has HDR 400 compatibility, which can make some games look way more cinematic. Overall, it's a really expensive monitor, but if you have a PC that can run it, then by all means go for it, because I built a PC with a 10900K as well as a 3090, so I get way more than 360 FPS. So, you know, it's not like the PC is a bottleneck. But was it really worth it to spend all this money to upgrade my setup? Well, that's a bit of a loaded question, and it's also very complicated to answer, but I'll do my absolute best to try to break it down and explain, like, what is the best monitor for you personally? Because everyone's different. For our first test, I'm going to be getting 100 kills on aimbots at 60 Hz, 144 Hz, 240 Hz, and 360 Hz. But guys, the test, we're going to be doing aimbots at 60 Hz, capped at 60 FPS. So this definitely feels really bad. It's not responsive at all. It feels like I'm playing with a little bit of like latency, like more latency than there should be. Now I can still hit my shots mainly because of muscle memory, but like the monitor is it's not a good experience at all. It feels bad. It looks bad. It's not great. For 60 Hz, we got 1 minute and 7 seconds. All right, so we bumped it up to 144 Hz, and already I noticed that it is so much more responsive. It feels buttery smooth compared to 60 Hz. And already I can notice this is so much better. It's so fluid. It feels amazing. If you can afford a 144 Hz monitor, and you don't want to go all the way up to 240 or 360 because those can cost a decent amount of money, dude, 144 is still really good compared to 60. 60 is literally just bottom of the barrel. Overall, I actually had a pretty bad run, and I got a worse score than I did at 60 Hz at 1 minute and 10 seconds. But to keep it totally fair, I'm going to be doing just one test for everything. All right, now we're up to 240 Hz, and already I can notice it definitely feels a little bit smoother than 144 Hz, but obviously the jump isn't nearly as much as 60 to 144. However, though, it is noticeable. But here, let's see what we can get on here. One thing that I'm noticing is it's actually significantly easier to go for those little micro transitions or those little micro movements where you kind of like you quickly flick to their head. With 144, I was definitely struggling a little bit with that just because it was obviously smooth, but it wasn't this smooth. All right, 58 seconds. That is a massive, massive, massive improvement. Now we're up to 360 Hz right here. And it's a step up from 240. It definitely feels a lot smoother, feels a lot more fluid. Enough talk. Let's actually demonstrate if I can get a better score or not. So far, this definitely feels the best by far. "56 seconds, so we beat our time. It wasn't insanely better than 240 Hz, obviously, but it definitely is a step in the right direction. And overall, based off of feel alone, this definitely feels the smoothest. This feels the most realistic in terms of like how much control I actually have over the game. 240 Hz is obviously still really good. Of course, I'm not going to say like 240 Hz is awful, because 240 Hz is still incredible. But if you really want to go the next step and your PC can handle it, then 360 Hz is it's not a huge jump, obviously. But if you're playing games competitively and you want to get the best setup possible and you want to get the best competitive edge, then 360 Hz is the way to go. The main reason why you'd want to get a higher refresh rate monitor is because the higher the refresh rate, the lower the latency, which means you can react to stuff way quicker and you can hit flick shots with more precision and more speed than on a lower refresh rate monitor. NVIDIA actually made this chart to kind of explain and show you guys the actual difference between the two. So on a 60 Hz monitor, there's about 100 milliseconds of latency essentially when you click your mouse to like when something actually happens in game. When you move up to 120 hertz, it's about 54 milliseconds. When you move up to 240 hertz, it's 34.5 milliseconds. And at 360 hertz, there's only 20 milliseconds of latency from when you click to where something actually happens in game. We are just talking about milliseconds worth of difference here, so it's not really an insane amount. If you compare 360 hertz to 60 hertz, on average, people who use it are 37% more accurate in terms of their flick shots. However, though, if you compare it to 240 hertz, it's only about a 4% improvement. It goes from 33 to 37, which isn't a lot, but when you're talking about competitive games where every percent and every little bit matters, then it can make a huge difference. But if you're not trying to go pro, then I don't really see a reason to pick one of these up unless you just really enjoy the game and you like playing really well. At the end of the day, the monitor won't make you better at the game, but it will increase your overall skill ceiling, and it'll help you hit your true potential. Now let's talk about the barrier to entry to actually get into 360 hertz gaming. So first of all, you need a really top of the line PC with one of the best gaming CPUs on the market. I bought a 10900K and that seems to be good enough, but you can also go with a Ryzen 5900X or 5950X. Those would suffice as well, but they're pretty expensive. And on top of that as well, the minimum requirement graphics card is an RTX 3080. So if you have anything less than a 3080, don't bother getting a 360 hertz monitor. Just go with 240. And actually, there are more games that can make use of a 360 hertz monitor. Obviously, there's Rainbow Six Siege, there's Minecraft, there's CSGO, there's Valorant, even TF2. So basically, 360 hertz monitor goes 240 hertz goes 144 goes brrr, and 60 hertz goes. But the real question is, should you buy a 360 hertz monitor? You have to ask yourself a couple questions. Are you going to be playing CSGO or Valorant or any of these esports titles? Question number 2 is, does your PC have a top of the line CPU as well as a 3080? And if no, then no. Question number 3, are you stacked? Do you have more money than you know what to do with? If yes, then by all means, buy a sick ass PC, buy yourself the 360 hertz monitor, and enjoy yourself. And question number 4 is, do you know the way? But in all honesty though, the only reason why I got the 360 hertz monitor is because I'm a gaming enthusiast and I just like having the best experience possible. Because of like skin trading and all this stuff that I've done with skins, I'm in the position to where I can afford to do this, and it's a really, really fun hobby, and I really do enjoy doing it. Now, obviously, I know I'm 26 years old, I'm past my prime, and I know I'm never going to be able to go pro in any esports game, but I still collect these kind of monitors, and I still enjoy it because of how smooth it feels. For me, I buy these monitors for the experience and not really to get any benefit out of it. But now let's talk about the best kind of monitors to buy for your situation. And in my opinion, I think that if you're going to be playing games at 60 hertz, I personally think that you're better off just getting yourself a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. Don't even come to PC gaming, because if you're just going to be playing at 60 hertz, there's really no reason. Unless you really like the games, then I guess you go for it. But I feel like for bang for your buck, with a console, you get so much more value for your money. Essentially, on the new gen consoles, you can run games at 4K, 60 FPS. They run smoothly, they run amazingly, and the settings are actually pretty high. Like, also, there are some games that do support keyboard and mouse, like Call of Duty obviously does, Fortnite, and those are the only 2 that I can think of, but there's others. But if you don't have a lot of money to spend, but you want to get a good solid PC esports monitor, get yourself a 144 hertz, because right now they're so much cheaper than they've ever been in the past. And honestly, it's so much better than the 60 hertz. It's a night and day difference. But if you do have a PC that is powerful enough to justify 240 hertz, like for example, if you get like 200 to 240 FPS on average when you play CSGO, Valorant, Rainbow Six, whatever games you play, then 240 hertz is definitely a huge step up. A lot of people say that there's basically no difference, but when you really break it down, you know, there is significantly less latency and it does feel so much more responsive. And also 240 hertz is a lot cheaper than it used to be as well because of 360 hertz. But if you just want to go balls to the wall, if you just want to go all out and you want to build like a super expensive gaming setup, then 360 hertz can be a really compelling option. But it all depends on you. It all depends on your budget. It depends on what PC you have and how much you're willing to spend. Basically, the higher your budget, the higher the refresh rate and the lower the latency. But overall, guys, I just wanted to try something a little bit different on the channel because I did just pick up this 360 hertz monitor and I wanted to give my opinion on it. And, you know, I wanted to help you guys figure out if it's worth it for you to get one or not. But overall, if you guys did end up enjoying today's video, like, comment, share, subscribe, because all that stuff does help the channel in a huge way. It helps the videos get seen by more people in the YouTube algorithm. So, you know, hey, a like goes a long way. Oh, also guys, if today's video hits 1,500 likes in the first 7 days, we'll be giving away a random CSGO skin from my inventory. I haven't figured out what skin yet, but we'll figure something out if we hit it. But overall, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, wash your hands. It's Turbo, and I'm out. Peace.